today's online community building and management lesson, we'll be discussing why you should have an introductions only category. But before that, you might consider actually becoming a founding member to my free Skool community. Now, what this Skool community will entail, it is yet to launch, but if you fill out the form below and just give me your email so that I can actually invite you as soon as this community launches, you'll gain access to a free community that is all about community building and management and developing and honing and cultivating those skills together as a network. So if that's something that interests you, you can just fill out the form below and I'll invite you in there as soon as it launches. I should also add that if you're an aspiring community builder and or manager, you're looking to start, build, and manage your own community and you haven't done that yet, you're more than welcome to join as well, as the more the merrier, and we're looking for as many people as possible. For those who don't know what a category is, in the context of Skool.com, where today's community, which we'll be looking at as an example, Movement Gems Free, is hosted, categories pertain to these forum topics that divide the forum into a number of topics. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't think it's the most difficult thing to understand. But regardless, it is important that you have an introductions one. And we're looking at a community here that does not feature an introductions only category. And we'll get into why it's important that your online community should feature an introductions category. So if you go to all here, you have the pinned sort of onboarding related posts in this particular community. And so here is the sort of fundamental onboarding post in question, which is watch this video, how to use Movement Gems. So if you click on that, you receive the onboarding instructions from the community builder himself, Andrew over here. And in this particular onboarding post, he leaves the instructions for members to introduce themselves in the comments below this post in question. So he even does it himself. He's the first one to do it here as an example. So he introduces himself, what he likes doing and working on and all that stuff, what he's given up here in terms of trying to become better, more in shape and whatnot, since this is an exercise-based community. And so everyone follows suit. People introduce themselves. But there's a problem that I have with this particular way of incentivizing introductions below a post, is that it's very overwhelming. No one really stands out. And there's, of course, other conversations going on too. People will respond to other people's introductions, and it just creates this big visual mess, something that's very difficult and not very organized, difficult to engage with, and just visually unpleasant. So in order to change that, what he could literally do is just have a category. So one of these, as you can see, he has a bunch of categories anyways to begin with: announcements, general wins, exercise related, and so forth. He can have one of these simply be an introductions only category. And then in his onboarding instructions, he can ask people to make a post in the introductions category with perhaps a number of instructions as to what that post entails. For example, who you are, maybe your age, where you live, if that's something that they're comfortable with sharing, what they're working on, these kinds of things. You can make very tailor-made for your situation in terms of what information or details that you want to know from your members. And I'll show an example of a community that does feature an introductions category. If we go to Cal's Country Club, as you can see, there is an introductions only category where members do indeed introduce themselves. Now we'll be looking at the reasons why you should have a dedicated forum category for introductions only posts. So at its surface, an introductions post allows for existing members the opportunity to greet new members, which in turn fosters a sense of belonging and community from the outset. And of course, it makes new members' presences known. So with a dedicated introduction post, new members become visible since existing members wouldn't know of them unless they made their presence known in such a way. How do you expect existing members to actually be aware of new members in the community if those new members don't come up with some kind of post, right? And an introduction post would be the best kind of post for a new member to make because it's personalized, because they're talking about themselves, right? They're talking about their interests and whatever prompts or questions that you provide to them, right? Because a new member can join and make a post about the theme of your community. Let's say it's a fitness community, they can make a post about bodybuilding, let's say, but that doesn't really shed light onto the personality or the ambitions or goals of that particular member. So that's why it's important to have a dedicated introductions post for new members. And of course, an introductions post can also serve as a networking tool. So introductions posts allow new members to share about themselves, their interests, and what they hope to gain from your community. This can help build connections with existing members who have similar interests and experiences. So these last three slides, these are kind of the surface level reasons why you would want an introductions only category to inspire new members rather, to make their introductions known. But let's look at some more detailed reasons as to why you'd want to go about doing something like this. So with an introductions post, there's also the vanity aspect. And what I mean by that is people love talking about themselves, their interests, and what's going on in their lives. And so by providing your new members with a dedicated forum to express themselves, you're far more likely to have new members engage with your community from the jump. And this is basic psychology, really. And of course, it's a win-win scenario. New members can talk about themselves, and as a result, you get to learn about your new members without having to inquire through any one-on-one outreach. And while one-on-one outreach isn't a bad thing, it's certainly a lot of work to do on a personalized level for every new member that joins your community. And an excellent thing about an introductions post is that it provides very little to no friction for new members. So new members don't have to commit to any research to make a post that's all about them. They know themselves more than anybody else and can jump straight into writing an introduction post without any preparation whatsoever. Therefore, the time between a new member joining and their introduction post will be short in principle, right? This is very powerful. Let's say again, for example, you have a fitness-based community. Well, if a member wanted to make a post, let's say a guide concerning fitness, well, he might have to do some research, he might have to work long hours on this and really think and write a thoughtful guide that he has to research and look into and make sure that he's providing accurate information. But in terms of an introductions post that concerns themselves, there is no research that has to be done. It's very immediate, and he can go about writing this post as soon as he joins the community. And of course, it represents very little to no friction for existing members. So existing members will exhibit very little to no friction in having to acquaint themselves with new members, as new members are the ones breaking the ice, right? So the existing members don't have to reach out whatsoever to these new members. It's actually the new members that are making these introduction posts themselves and are in a way reaching out to the existing members in your community. And as far as you're concerned as a community builder and or manager, you're in control. So introduction posts can also serve as a feedback mechanism to understand what new members are looking for in the community, which allow for adjustments and improvements to meet new members' needs better. By providing structure and easy to follow prompts/questions of your choosing, you can dictate what new members discuss in their introduction posts. Note, this is powerful because you could literally ask why new members joined if you wanted to, which can help you detect patterns in their reasons for joining, and as a result can help you strengthen your community offer. So how you would go about doing this is in your onboarding process, where your instructions for how new members are supposed to engage with your community is, you're going to detail a few steps or a framework, a series of prompts and questions that new members can answer in their introductions post. And those are 100% of your curation. So for example, as I mentioned here, you can ask why new members joined your community in the first place. And this is an excellent sort of thing to ask because it sheds light on the reasons why members joined, and that can actually help you strengthen your community offer. So wherever you're marketing your community offer, whatever call to actions you have, or wherever the copy is on your sales page, if, for example, a ton of new members said they joined your community in their introductions post because of X reason, then you know that you should focus on X reason to market to prospective members so that they can join, right? Because it seems that this is a very common reason for why members join. So we'll end off the reasons why you should have an introductions only category with positive momentum. So an introduction post gets the ball rolling in terms of new members engaging with your space. That is, a new member who makes their first post all of a sudden finds it easier to create their second post, third, and so forth. Therefore, an introduction post has the snowballing potential to increase engagement.